right, welcome to the Alberto Crane Show. I am here with our amazing white belt, Aiden Ratliff.
What's up? Glad to be here.
What's up, bro? Yeah, man. How's the training been going?
It's been going great, actually. I've been doing a lot of privates with Kevin. I've been just prepping, trying to come at least 4 to 5 times a week. Right now, the weight cutting process is hard, but I know it's going to be
coming
worth
3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sometimes even like 5 or 6, like just depending like on my work schedule too and like school. But yeah, I think the hardest part about it really is just the weight cutting. Like even then for the last month, I've cut like 12 pounds. So it's like, it's going well.
Okay.
Just trying to
leaning out.
Yeah, just trying to lean out. Because even aside from this, I feel like in the last year I've gotten a little bit chubbier than I want to be.
Yeah, you feel kind of sluggish, right?
So it's like
gain weight.
Not even just for the tournament, just in general, it's gonna be like a good like thing to do. But yeah, I have a tournament this weekend that I'm pretty excited for. It's gonna be my first ever tournament.
Oh, are you competing this weekend?
Yeah, in Arizona.
Oh, for the Jiu-Jitsu World League.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you going with your dad?
No, I'm just gonna go out there by myself. I have some family out there. Yeah.
I like that.
My
white belt podcast.
Arizona was my first ever.
Really?
Arizona was your first as well?
First ever.
Yeah. So my cousin's girlfriend.
What tournament? Jiu-Jitsu World League?
So like my cousin's girlfriend, her stepdad owns a gym out there. So her brother is gonna coach me for the weekend.
Okay. What gym is it?
It's called Social Club, I think.
Social Club, okay.
But he's gonna I'm going out there Wednesday night. Me and him are gonna work together Thursday and Friday, so he gets a feel for my for the way I roll. And he's gonna also just he's gonna help me cut out the water weight the night before.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be interesting. I got family out there too.
Jiu-Jitsu World League, so you have a little bit of time before your first match.
Yeah.
You have probably a couple hours maybe, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah, that's good. If it's like IBJJF, you have to it's like right before your first match.
Yeah.
It's not so good.
It's also nice too because my grandparents live out there, and I have a bunch of family out there. I'm not gonna invite the whole family tree out there for my first tournament, and then worst case I end up losing in front of them. But I want to at least bring my grandparents because I don't know how many times they'll be able to see me compete.
Yeah.
So win or lose, I know I won't be embarrassed if I end up losing in front of them. But the goal is to win, obviously. I'm just viewing this one.
Man, you're putting yourself out there, right? You're totally exposed and whatever, but you're actually not. You're going for it, right?
Yeah.
And the part of the process is losing, and no matter what you do, to be good at something, right? It's not even losing, but just to perfect something, you got to try different ways that don't work, right?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah. And then after that, the week after, I'm doing another tournament in San Diego. So it's gonna be pretty interesting.
What got you into wanting to do tournaments?
Honestly, when I first started out with jiu-jitsu in March, I wanted to I was just viewing it as a fun thing to do, and then I realized why not just compete? I missed out on the in-house tournament.
In March. Okay, so April, May, June, July, August, September.
Yeah, so about 6 months. So I missed out on the in-house tournament because I was only 2 or 3 weeks in. I kind of regret it just because I feel like it would have been nice to just get a feel for it.
Yeah. The nerves and stuff, right?
But
because John that was his first tournament.
Yeah,
right?
I remember John did it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
because there's a solid white belt crew now.
Yeah.
That are putting in the work. Yeah,
it's me, John, and just a couple of them other guys too that I've even made friendships with. But yeah, it's gonna be definitely interesting, especially with San Diego. Me and Kevin have been game planning for that one mainly. The Arizona one, I kind of just decided to do it a month out. Let's just
perfect.
Yeah, let's just go for it.
That's it.
Yeah. But
what's great about Jiu-Jitsu World League is you get at least 2 matches, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what, you can try again.
Yeah. And then I'm also doing the championship one November 1st. So that's going to be interesting. I didn't realize it was going to be the day after Halloween. So
okay.
Yeah. So any fun Halloween plans to be out late, probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, soccer. You can still do stuff, right? But you gotta go
Yeah,
home late.
just
Go home early. I mean,
the goal is to get at least 8 hours of sleep for that. So gonna try to do that.
yeah, that's it.
Um,
What made you want to come in and do jiu-jitsu and martial arts?
Honestly, I've always kind of like been into UFC and like even though it's not like real MMA like WWE, like wrestling in general, and I've always wanted to do like a combat sport. And I did basketball for a couple years. I wasn't really passionate about it. I just did it just for the sport. But like I would always like in my head was like, hey, like I want to learn jiu-jitsu or like Muay Thai, which I'm doing both now. I think the main thing that really pushed me forward was earlier this year I lost my mom. My mom passed away. And I was just kind of like super lazy about things. Like I didn't really want to do much. And then like my dad came in here, did the podcast with you. Then I got to know Kevin. And then Kevin started just texting me pretty consistently about like, hey, bro, just get your ass in here and start training. Like your dad can probably will support it 100%. And I was like, you know what? Like, I think it's finally time I should do it. And ever since then, it's been like the best decision I've made. Like, it's honestly become more a passion of mine than basketball ever was. Like, I feel the need to keep going.
There's never a boring day, right?
No, even the days where I feel like I'm getting beat up the whole time and I'm not progressing. It's like I am. Like I remember the first like 2 months I was like, what's the point of me even coming in? I'm just getting submitted the whole time. And then I ended up going against like a newcomer who like it was like their first week and I'm like, okay, wait, maybe I am progressing. Cause I was like I submitted him within like 3 minutes. So I'm like, okay, so the progress is there. It's just like it's still just a process at the same time.
So it's been about 6 months, right? You've been training. What are some of the things that you've seen improve in yourself?
Honestly, I feel like my discipline and just like my drive to want to get better has gotten has improved immensely. Because like before this, like I said, I was always super lazy about things. I still am in some regards, but I just always now.
You're not excited. You're not like passionate about something.
Yeah,
right?
like this is like the first time I'm like looking forward to something. Like I'm like signing up for tournaments. I'm like reaching out to people to help me with certain things. Whether it's like reaching out to Kevin about certain things with the tournament rules or reaching out to Professor Joey about like certain moves. It's like I'm always like trying to like learn things, which I think is like the number one thing, especially as a white belt, is you should always come in to try to learn.
I mean, even as a black belt.
Yeah, but especially with the white belts, because like you know that there's some white belts who come in thinking like, oh, this sport is nothing. Like I'm gonna come in here and bulldoze through people. And then they learn real quick. Like that's not how it works. Like I've gone against some like white belts who like just try to use like brute strength over everything, and it just most of the time it falls.
You know,
flat.
guys, they say what because back in the day in the UFC, right? They had the styles versus styles, right?
Yeah,
Jiu-jitsu versus karate, jiu-jitsu or whatever, this versus that.
Yeah,
right? Sumo wrestling versus karate or whatever martial art.
Yeah,
to see which one was the best, right? And then there was sometimes they had guys like in different events, like King of the Cage, like their discipline was street fighting.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Honestly, I feel like it's interesting because when it comes to like the street fighting aspect, we had people come into the UFC like that. Like Kimbo Slice, he made his whole career off that, and it just
backyard.
Yeah,
Sweet, yeah.
And it's like it didn't work out too well for him, but he still made a name for himself off of it. It just his combat style did not mesh well with people who actually properly train. I think I feel like the only person who like really made a name for themselves off like the street fighting backyard stuff is I think Masvidal did it.
That's good, man. That's really good.
I think Masvidal made a name for himself through that first.
Yeah, that's it.
And he fought for the UFC championship against Usman. Got knocked out, but he still made it that far.
That's really good. You know a lot.
Yeah.
You really know the sport.
Yeah.
That's you go back. That's a lot of years.
It's crazy.
Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, I've only been a fan of it for like the UFC only.
Because I asked, are you 18? You're like, I'm 19.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the UFC.
That's
for
a lot of years that you've been watching.
For like only like 3 or 4 years though.
Really?
Yeah, I just like for me, it's like when I become a fan of things, I just like to know the history of it. Like I want to like the first UFC fight I watched is Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. And because Usman was like my favorite fighter going into it, because like that's like when he was on his run. Then he got head kicked, and I'm like, oh man, like at least let me like look back at these fights where he was dominant. And yeah, I just like to like learn about these older fighters. Like another like old school fighter I like is, even like with all these like controversies as of recently, is like Rampage Jackson. He was always entertaining.
Yeah.
Chael Sonnen.
Did you watch some of his Pride fights?
Yeah. I love watching some of the old Pride fights because the rules there are so much different. Like Vanderlei Silva was a badass at that time.
Did you watch the fight where he picked up Ricardo Aurora?
The power bomb? Yeah. I remember thinking to myself, like, is that like before starting, like when I first like got into
knocked
jiu-jitsu,
him out cold, and then he got up like doing his howl when there's blood coming down from his forehead.
I remember when I first started jiu-jitsu, I'm like, is that legal here? And then I'm like, probably not. Probably power bombing probably isn't legal out here. Yeah, though the UFC is definitely like a really fun sport though. Like I think it's just cool because especially like with what you said earlier, it's like back then it only just used to be like a style versus style format. Now it's like everyone, like if you don't know at least a good amount of everything, you're done.
It was like the beginning, it was style versus style, right? And it was still kind of when I was fighting. And then it transitioned into like one person is really great at something. You're like a master at this, and you're okay at some other things, right?
Yeah.
And now you have to be great at everything. There's no.
Yeah, like prime example was like Sean O'Malley, great striker, but the moment he faced against a high class wrestler, he lost twice in a row. So it's like it's just. We live in a world now where it's like if you're gonna be in the UFC, you gotta know how to do everything, or at least a little bit of everything.
What do you think about the Caucasus fighters? The Caucasus fighters, like out of how many divisions? There's like the guys are champions, like Merab. Like
I love. First of all, Merab is like my favorite fighter. I enjoy his fight so much. Could you elaborate on that question though? Just.
Yeah. Like there's like how many? There's a heavyweight. There's light heavyweight. There's middleweight.
Oh, are you asking about are you asking about like the number of the divisions?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then like there's Merab. There's
it's Pantoja, Merab, Volkanovski, Topuria, Madalena.
Well, Islam was the lightweight, right?
Yeah, and then he vacated.
So at a certain point there was like the what's it called? Not the featherweight. What's the weight before featherweight? Bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, and then like the light heavyweight was also like Dagestani and like those areas, you know?
Yeah,
like Georgian and you know. Yeah, no. Top contenders are all like so many tough guys from there, from that area.
It's crazy to think too. It's like especially with like the Georgians are starting to take over too. Like Merab, Merab is the #1 Georgian guy, and he took down Khabib's cousin, who everyone was hyping up just because like of Khabib's namesake.
Are you familiar at all with the Caucasus?
Not as
like
much.
That region.
I'm some like the European area, or what do you mean?
No, just that area. Like the it's like Caucasus Mount. Like if you're like Caucasian, right? Like Caucasus Mountains, and so it's like Armenia is like kind of at the bottom of it, and then you go up north, and it's Georgia, and then it's like Russia, which is Dagestan, and all these, you know, Ossetia, and all these different Chechnya, right? All those areas.
Yeah, I mean that whole area is taken over the UFC. I feel. Do we have an American champion right now?
That's a good question. I think I saw John Jones. They were trying to. I think DC was trying to get John Jones on the White House card.
Yeah, I think John Jones was the last American champion we had.
That's crazy.
And then he vacated his belt.
That's crazy.
And it's like crazy to think about because this used to just be like an all-American sport.
Yeah. American and Brazilian, right?
Yeah, American and Brazilian, and like all the other countries just slowly started like coming in. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. I think the only real American who has a chance to maybe win a belt now is maybe Joshua Van in the flyweight division, and that's just because it's like the least saturated division out there. That's 125. I just feel like there's not much contenders there, but I don't know because all the champions right now are dominant. Like I don't see anyone beating Tom Aspinall. I don't see anyone beating Ilya.
What about Tom Jones? I mean, John Jones and Aspinall.
So John Jones is probably my favorite fighter of all time. And
why?
because he was just so dominant. And as much as people want to like say like he cheated, he shouldn't be considered the GOAT. It's like at that time, who wasn't juicing up? Like so many like fighters at that time were taking steroids. So it's like that's kind of like in my opinion like something you can't discredit someone for. And that dude was like he was just so athletically dominant in every way. But in terms of fighting Tom Aspinall, he was so much more older. He was super inactive. And the fact that he wasn't like, he was so dodgy about like fighting Tom is like very alarming to me. Like,
he always was the younger guy.
Yeah.
And now he's older. Yeah. He's the older guy.
And it
on
was
the way out, kind of, right?
I think it was Daniel Cormier who pointed it out, though. He was like, John, I was the older guy against you. Like,
that's it.
You like, just take the fight. But I think John also.
I think he's always done those kinds of things, and that's why Dana White was kind of hesitant to get him on the card.
Yeah. Especially.
But it's cool that DC was kind of pushing for it. I just saw that like yesterday on some new social media post.
That's another fighter I love. I love Daniel Cormier. And the thing is, if he didn't lose to John Jones, I think people would consider him one of the greatest of all time. It's just the fact that he lost to the greatest of all time. No one's going to ever really credit him like that. But he was a double champion, Olympic wrestler. Like, he had it all. It's just couldn't beat the GOAT.
Yeah. I agree. John Jones, like, you can say what you want, but, like, the guy's undefeated, even though he has that loss on the record still. Which but it's not really a loss.
About to say, the loss that he got
they should remove that, yeah.
Well, the elbow that he did now is legal. The 12-6 is legal in the UFC now, so it's like, is that really even, like, should that really be on his record still?
Have you seen that fight?
Yeah. What's his name? Matt Hamill, I think.
He's your own MMA show, bro.
No.
Straight up. It should be, TKO needs to hire you for WWE and UFC.
What's crazy is my dad and
That's crazy. How much you know?
My dad and I have talked about.
19?
19. I'm turning 20 in 2 weeks.
Dude. Like, how do you know all these things? You were like, how old are you when Pride? It was like, you were like 10 years old.
Not even,
yeah.
Yeah, I was probably like 5.
So you're like watching all this stuff on YouTube?
Yeah, I just like to watch old fights on YouTube. Like, it's like, especially like.
You're like a big time student of the game.
Yeah. And then like, especially with like certain fights that like some people would consider like close decisions or robberies, I like to personally like scorecard the fights myself. Like, I used to be super biased about it back then. And then I kind of just realized like, hey, Volkanovski lost against Islam. Like, we got to be real here. Or just like other fights. A fight that people claim is a robbery that I don't think so is John Jones versus Dominic Reyes. I think John Jones won that fight. But I understood why.
What about John Jones versus
Gustafsson?
Yeah, Gustafsson.
I still think
the first one.
The first one, I still think Jones won, and especially since in the second fight he knocked him out. So it's like he proved it. It's just like one of those things where it's like close fights shouldn't be considered robberies. I think that's like what the MMA fan base has like poisoned themselves into thinking. It's like, oh, this was a 29-28, but it went the other guy's way. That's a robbery.
Are you familiar at all with Pat Miletich?
That name sounds super familiar.
So he had the team, like the dream team, and he's out of Iowa, the dream team of UFC champs. You know, he was the best coach of at the time in the early like beginning UFC days.
Yeah,
he had like Jens Pulver, he had Matt Hughes, he had pretty much all of them. You know, all the guys, like they were the champs. You know,
yeah.
Tim Sylvie was the heavyweight champ. Jeremy Horn. And so a lot of the MMA, right, it was built around these camps, you know.
Yeah.
Now it's much more. I mean, the Khabib's camp, right, is still there, and AKA they have, you know. But
yeah.
What do you think? What in your opinion now? What are your favorite camps that you see?
I'd probably say the Fighting Nerds used to be one of them. The Fighting Nerds. It has John Silva, Kyle Barijo, I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, and then like Mauricio Ruffi and Carlos Prates. Their like whole gimmick was like they'd like wear these like nerd glasses and all this stuff. Like they were like these like Brazilian guys They were cool. And then they started to become a little overrated. And then I started foreseeing their downfall. And now all of them have gotten their first loss in the UFC in the last year. Another camp I like a lot. I forgot the name of the camp, but it's the one that Izzy and Volk are in. They're in a camp together. I just forgot the name.
New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then
is it New Zealand or Australia?
I think it's New Zealand.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then another one that I'm a fan of is I also love Ilia Toporia's with his brother. Like Toporia's he's amazing. Because the thing is that guy knows how to sell the fights, and
he's just so calm when he talks about it. He's like, yeah, you know, like I feel bad after like kill you basically like in the cage, and then he does it. He's like, you know, I wish it was somebody else, you know, but I have to do my job. You know, I'm so sorry.
This
Can you imagine fighting somebody like that? You're like
this dude went
squaring up with him. And
this dude went to dinner with his family the night before the fight, celebrating his championship before he even won it. Like. He just comes in with so much confidence.
Yeah, hopefully, you think what's his name saw it before the fight?
Charles,
yeah.
Maybe. The thing is, too, it's like...
it's mental games.
Yeah, no, like, he plays mind games. Like, I remember I was at the fight where he fought Volkanovski, and I was thinking the whole time, like...
I mean, like, I've done stuff like that where you make T-shirts and you make stuff like champ, like, just to visualize, right? And you believe, right?
Yeah, but I just remember... seeing this guy talk so much trash to who a lot of people, and myself including, consider the featherweight GOAT. Like, I was like, who does this guy think he is? Like, he's going to get humbled. And then...
Who is this?
Alexander Volkanovski. Ilia Topuria was talking all that trash.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who does this guy think he is? Like, Volk's going to humble him. And then 2 rounds, knocks his lights out. Same thing with Holloway. That, like, he was the first person to ever not only knock down Holloway, but knock him out. Like, that's like this guy in his last 3 fights has a resume that not many people have.
And he would knock out everybody's favorite fighters, right?
Yeah, and I think, like, dude, I was heartbroken when Volk lost because Volk
not just like brutally, like he walks away, knocked out.
Yeah, no, like this guy, like he just doesn't care, and it's interesting because like I feel like he might. I feel like if him and Islam fought, I think Islam would maybe win, but it's a close fight. The only thing Islam has on him is size. And then obviously he's like great at wrestling too, but the thing is like Ilia is also a pretty great wrestler and jiu-jitsu artist.
Have you seen the jiu-jitsu? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's an interesting thing. Like I want that fight to happen. That could be potentially the biggest fight
better
ever.
than Derek Moneyberg's jiu-jitsu?
Oh God, don't get me started. We've talked. You and I have talked about this multiple times.
I should wear my Derek Moneyberg shirt. I was like, never mind.
Have you seen the clip of Sean Strickland and him?
No.
Dude.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah. Where were they at?
They were like at like a hotel or something.
And he just randomly goes live on the.
Well, apparently Moneyberg tried walking up to Strickland to like confront him, and then Strickland was like, "Okay, let me get my phone out and record this, so then you don't like twist this on your podcast."
Okay.
And then Moneyberg got like his feelings hurt about it, and Strickland was like, "The number one thing I'll never do is lie to my fans. I love my fans more than anything, and I will not lie and make this guy seem legitimate. He paid his way into getting this black belt, and now like he expects himself to be respected." And I'm like, damn, like this guy said that to his face. But like if anyone's gonna do it, it's Sean Strickland.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, like that dude has gotten himself canceled so many times.
I mean, I'm glad he's still around after that situation and where he fought the guy in the in the corner, right? Jumped into the cage.
That whole thing was crazy because I think he's back in November. I think his suspension's lifted at that time. But
yeah, because if somebody doesn't like you, right? Obviously he's popular, right?
Yeah,
and so he makes money for the organization. Yeah. So
another fighter like that who like kind of slowed themselves down because of suspensions is Arman Sarukian. He suspended himself. He got himself suspended.
That's right, because when he was walking out, right?
Yeah, and he punched the fan, and it's like, dude, people.
What did the guy do?
I think he just like touched his shoulder.
Yeah,
and like I don't think it was anything crazy.
I mean, you're on edge, right?
You're
dialed in. You're locked in.
Yeah,
like, touching.
But it's like people consider you the #1 threat against Islam Makhachev, the most unbeatable fighter in the world, and you get yourself suspended, and now he's not even fighting for the title. It's been like a year and a half since he's fought, and it's because he pulled out against Islam, which I wasn't happy about. I went to that event.
What do you think happened?
He claimed it was his back. But
you think it was that exercise he's doing with the Nina drama?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just honestly, I just think he wasn't ready for the fight.
Mentally, right?
Yeah, and he realized that. So it's like he used his like minor back injury as an excuse. And it's like, bro, like respectfully, half the people who went to that stadium, because this was in LA, half of them were Armenian, chanting for the Armenian guy, because they spent a lot of money on. He's the Armenian fighter, so it's like you have like your whole your people with you chanting you on, and you're just gonna say because of a little minor back injury you're not gonna fight the champ, and then the fight, his replacement ended up losing in 2 minutes, so it's like. It's just like it's stuff like that. Do you think he
can be UFC champ?
Arman? No. I just think Islam and Ilya are both so unbeatable. Because Ilya can just knock you out. It's like I think Arman needs to also fight one more contender too. Especially with the lightweight division is one of the most packed divisions. So it's like it's going to keep moving up, and you got to move with it, or else you're going to have to fight another contender. Mm-hmm. And he pulled out of his fight on his own accord, so he just got to fight another contender. I think a Charles rematch would be good. I think that fight, even though UFC 300 is the greatest UFC card of all time, the curse of that fight is the fact that it wasn't 5 rounds, because it was such a close fight. There were so many close calls. Like, I'm sure you saw, like, Charles had him in, like, 2 different submissions that were super tight. And it's like, that's something where it's like, just 2 more rounds, and we could have really seen who was going to win that fight. Now, I think Arman will probably win in a rematch just because Charles has been banged up since then.
Knocked out multiple times.
But it's like, it's still an interesting fight to make, and that could solidify him as a contender. Or Arman versus Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett is an interesting prospect. He's annoying. I don't like his voice. But
what about his haircut?
It's gotten better, though. Back then, it used to just be like the little bowl cut. Now it's like he has some length to it. So it looks pretty decent.
Fighting Ilya?
No. There's no fight that's been announced for Ilya yet.
He just called him out in the cage.
Yeah, he's only called him out. But Paddy's like ranked 10. So like, why would a ranked 10 go against Ilya?
True.
Like, you gotta get one more fight, and I think 3.
What are the matchups to make then?
I would say right now, Ilya Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, just because when you think about it, I know people say Justin Gaethje's the least deserving, but with Gaethje, he beat Dustin Poirier, knocked him out, and then fought against Holloway, then lost. We know how that went, and then he beat Fiziev. And people would say because he's only beat Fiziev, he doesn't deserve it. But if you really think about it, Dustin Poirier fought Michael Chandler, then got knocked out by Dustin Poirier, and then beat the 12th ranked Benoit Saint Denis just to and then got a title shot from that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, we know Gaethje's on his way out, so why not just give him the title shot? And then he
deserves it.
And then let Arman and Paddy fight. I think that's like the easiest thing you could do.
That's good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Dana White, if you're watching this, hire me. But yeah, it's definitely like an interesting thing. The UFC, I feel like.
What about featherweight?
Ooh, featherweight. I would say right now, I'd say give Lerone Murphy. He did the spinning elbow against Aaron Pico. Mm-hmm. I'd say give him the title shot against Volk just because he's been super active.
Did you follow Aaron Pico's career at all?
I did. He was a pretty good Bellator guy, but like he wasn't great. Like he was great at Bellator, but he wasn't the best. Like,
did you follow? Do you know anything of his like amateur career? Like,
no, not really.
Wrestling or boxing?
No, but I just like, for me, it's just kind of like, so Mazvar Idalev was the guy who people thought was going to be the number 1 contender against Volk, but they gave him Pico, and he pulled out due to injury, and Lerone Murphy stepped in on 3 weeks' notice and knocked out Pico in 3 minutes. But people are still going to try to say Movsar deserves the title fight when he pulled out. So I think Lerone Murphy should fight Volk just for his. He's undefeated right now. He stepped in on short notice and won the fight. And then I think give Movsar Diego Lopez. And then that's the title eliminator. If Diego wins, he gets a rematch against Volk. If Movsar wins, then he proves himself and then goes and fights again.
And then bantamweight.
Bantamweight's such a complicated division because that's like one of the divisions where it's like there's only really 4 contenders. I would say just Merab and Sandhagen are fighting in 2 weeks, which, by the way, I was going to try to go to that event and then I found out.
Where's it going to be?
It's in Vegas, but I found out it's the same day as the San Diego tournament. So I'm like, sacrifices, yeah.
There you go.
We're going to go out and watch it.
I'm down. Let's do that. But and then another fight I'd like to see is after I think Merab or I think Piotr Jan versus Umar would be a good fight. Russian versus Russian. They're both 2 different styles. I think that's a good little matchup. But yeah, bantamweight's such a.
And then the winner can get the title.
Oh wait, no, Umar got scheduled for a fight. He's against Mario Batista. So never mind on that. Then I think no matter what, Peter Yan just needs to be next for the title then, because former champ, he's on a little win streak right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's the fight to make after this. I think Merab makes quick work of Sandhagen. I think it's just gonna be a 25-minute decision domination. I like Sandhagen though. I think Sandhagen's a better O'Malley.
Yeah, MMA is so crazy, right? Because there's so many, like, did you watch the boxing fight this weekend?
I'm not a big boxing fan, but are you talking about
the Canelo?
Yeah, I watched it. I'm not too into it though because I don't know how the scoring works there. Because I feel like for me, it's like most of it's.
Well, after watching MMA, we were just because they had the UFC Noche that night, right? But that's earlier in the evening. But then that night they had the boxing, and it's like you get so dialed in because there's so many things that can happen in an MMA fight. You can get knocked out, you can get submitted, you can just crazy things happen, right?
Especially like I think it's even crazier because Dana White was promoting the Canelo Crawford fight more than his own UFC event. And I'm just like, I know like Dana wants to get in with the boxing guys to like kind of create this monopoly for him, but it's like,
I'm sure he got paid, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he got paid, but it's like last year Noche was in the Sphere, claimed to be one of the biggest events ever, and now we're relegated to like it starting earlier in the day just to make sure that the Canelo and Crawford fight doesn't lose views. Which, by the way, in my opinion, watching both events, the Noche event was so much better.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Silva Lopez fight? It was an amazing fight.
No, for sure.
But yeah, it's just like I don't know. I just think I'm just not a big boxing guy as much. Like I'll watch it occasionally. Like Canelo Crawford, I made the exception for because from what I heard, that's like one of the biggest fights you could ever make. Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right, to see him. He had to go up in weight, right, to fight Canelo. It's cool to see him do what he did, and still be undefeated, right?
Yeah. How was your fighting career?
As far as what?
Like when, because I know you did some MMA fights too. Mm-hmm. Like how was that? I
had like 20 pro fights. I did a couple fights in the UFC, and then I fought around the world, different parts of the world.
Yeah.
I never had plan on fighting MMA.
Really?
Yeah, I even did interviews like, I don't want. That's crazy, I'm not gonna do that. And then one thing led to another, and I got my black belt, and I was like, I want to test myself in the cage and see if this stuff works, And then King of the Cage, which was a big deal in my day, was like really close to the UFC level, Well, all the guys were coming. They would choose the best guys, and then they would fight in the UFC. And so the UFC came to New Mexico because I'm from New Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And then I got on the card, and then they put me on, and then I sold a ton of tickets, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll put you on for a semi-main event,
Yeah.
Right before this guy named Dan Severn. Do you know who he is?
That name sounds super familiar.
He fought Hoist Gracie in the 4th UFC. Mm-hmm. He was like a good wrestler,
Yeah.
So I was fighting right before him. And then they wanted me to fight, of course, after that. And so I just kept going. I won, and they wanted me again. And And then the champ of the King of the Cage at the time was kind of stuck up to me, and I got like insulted. And I didn't do it for the money. I just did it for I don't know, for the challenge.
Yeah.
And then I did the second fight, and then I got a title fight. That's my motivation to do the second fight, because there was no money.
Yeah.
Like, how much do you think they would pay me for a fight?
Probably. What year was it?
Not 19. It's 2000 and 2002.
5,000? Is that too much? That's too much, huh? Yeah.
So give me another number.
Lower?
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah. It was like it was in the hundreds.
Yeah.
I think it was like $300 and $500, something like that.
Yeah.
Like I did a podcast with my friend. He was a Hein Gracie black belt. He was a judo. He was on the national team for Brazil.
Yeah.
And he had to lie to Hein Gracie, his professor, his master,
Yeah.
about how much he was getting paid, because it was so embarrassing.
That's funny.
Because they were getting them on the pride cards and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're like a jiu-jitsu black belt, but they're like to get experience, right? It was cool in the King of the Cage locally. Anyway, yeah, it was like $300, $500. But then what I figured out is that I get sales, I get commission on the sales of the tickets.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So then I just got a bunch of tickets, and then once I sold all the tickets, they're like, oh, okay, this guy's for real. So anyway, that's how it was. And then so they wanted me on the card no matter what. And then I did the second fight, got the title fight, and then I just walked away from the title. I was like, oh, thanks,
Yeah.
But there's like no money. I was like, no, why should I keep doing this, And then I got a fight in Japan.
That's sick.
And then I was like, oh, that'd be a cool experience. So I went to Japan, fought there, and then somebody else was asking me for a fight in Colorado. There was like a event called Ring of Fire. Sven Bean, he's still involved with the promotion. I think he works for that RFA. Is it RFA? Or LFA. It's called now. I think it's part of the UFC Fight Pass thing. One of the feeder events,
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another, and then I started promoting our own fights.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then there was 8, and then they got rid of my division in the UFC, because I was basically the next step, right?
Yeah.
At that point, because there weren't that many UFC events at that time, right? There's like maybe 4 or 5, and it's very rare. Anyway, they got rid of my division. And so then I was like, oh, okay. So I just focused on my gym, and like just I wanted to be able to keep doing it and provide for my family. So I focused on that kind of stuff. And we did, like I said, I promoted a couple of fights in that time too. And then they were knocking on my door to fight in the UFC. They even invited me to do the Ultimate Fighter.
That's sick.
But I was gonna have my son. It's like I'm probably not gonna do this.
Yeah.
Then I moved out here. And then eventually I ended up fighting in the UFC. Didn't work out. Like broke my orbital in the first fight, and the second one, like they called it early. But it was all great experience. Just to even be there, right? And then I kept fighting. What was after that? Because I was trying to find I was in New Mexico, right? So I had a good camp. Speaking of camps, like Greg Jackson, do you know who he is?
Sounds familiar.
He was like John Jones's longtime coach.
That's probably
you should know that. Yeah. You should know that. Mike Winklejohn,
Yeah.
Those guys were his longtime coaches.
Yeah.
Then I kept going, and then I did a fight in Costa Rica. I did a fight my last fight was in the south of France.
That's so cool.
And so my friend, actually, we were Dan Henderson. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
So I was training at his. I ended up kind of going there because I was trying to find a good MMA training back when I first moved here, and there wasn't any really MMA like gyms really putting it together, and so they had like world class, like the best wrestlers and judo guys.
Yeah. And
so I ended up going there, and it was in Temecula, so I'd have to like go there and stay there for a couple of days, to get my training in. And then I met a judo guy there, and he got this crazy sponsor, and she did these fights like internationally. One was the Costa Rica one I went to, and then the last one, ended up being my last one, was in the south of France, because he was French. He was a French judoka, Olympian, and so I ended up doing that for my last fight, and I could bring a corner, so I brought my wife, and we ended up making a vacation. Of course, we had guys there to corner me and stuff,
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Like, I feel like that's like one thing that I'm excited for when it comes to like starting jiu-jitsu is just like the traveling aspect of it. Like, I see you traveling all the time. Like I see Kevin going out of the country too, just to compete, and it's like
that's really a living, man. You really, you know, you test yourself, you push yourself, and the great thing with jiu-jitsu is that you know, you kind of get the same feeling, but without the brain damage.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I honestly though, like, obviously I don't want to get brain damage, but like my hope is though, in like a couple years, maybe I can do like an amateur MMA fight. Like if I can get good enough at like the striking aspect too.
Yeah.
Because for me, like the ratio between jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, because I do
kind of like a bucket list thing.
Yeah, like right now it's like obviously I'm doing my main focus on jiu-jitsu, but like once I get to like maybe like not like I'm not gonna obviously quit once I reach the goal, but like maybe like when I get to a blue belt, I can maybe shift a bit more focus into Muay Thai, just to get used to like other styles, and then in like a couple years from now, maybe just do like an MMA fight, and if I'm good at it, I'm good. If not, then
the thing is with like amateur, because back in the day they didn't even have really amateur.
Yeah.
Now it's like, and then there was a transition to like it was basically they're kind of like pro cards, but they just don't pay you, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's pretty cool. Like the Up Next Fighting, they do great.
Yeah,
work.
with Matthew Nestor.
Right. And there's the organizers of the event. You know, they do really great job with the fighters, and the promotion itself. But was one point where we were talking about the lost my train of thought.
Amateur league,
Oh
pro league.
yeah. So now, you know, really, man, like. Because guys come in with backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
For example, like you didn't growing up wrestling and growing up, not that there's like, you know, a Golden Gloves boxer, right?
Yeah.
But some of these guys come in like with background, right? They wrestled in high school at least or whatever, you know, like which is already like, you know, it's like, some time.
Yeah.
And so like, for example, in amateur cards or amateur rounds, it's like shorter rounds. So if you have a jiu-jitsu background, for example, like you can't be on your butt, you know, you can be kind of losing the fight, right?
Yeah.
In 2-3 minutes, it's hard to maybe even get a submission unless you fall in the right position. Anyway, it's like a whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Just to do it. But you know, you get the right matchups, it's all good, right? And there's guys that are normal guys too, but you have to be aware of all of those things.
The one thing that I wish that I knew,
you're gonna be one of our legacy people, so we're gonna pack the house to support you. So they're gonna watch you on the car and they're gonna give you whatever you want.
Yeah, one of the main things though that I regret going into high school is, well, it's not like something that was like really in my control because I went to Burroughs High School.
Oh, okay.
So it's like right here.
They didn't have wrestling.
They didn't have wrestling.
Yeah.
And like what's funny is I remember my
Burbank High has wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is like I remember my sophomore year. I went to like the sports director and I was like, "Hey, like, how come we don't have wrestling here?"
They're trying, but it's like a process. Right?
Yeah. So I wanted to like, I asked them, I'm like, "Well, is it possible if I can try out for the Burbank team while still going for here?" And they're like, "No, you have to like be a student there." And I'm like, "Damn!" Like I have.
So you wanted to wrestle?
I wanted to wrestle. Like it was it was obviously like high school doesn't have like jiu-jitsu or boxing, so it was like I can try out wrestling for high school, and then that didn't work out, and I wasn't gonna leave my school just to join a sport because all my friends went to Burroughs and like my girlfriend and who I'm still with, like all that, like I didn't want to like lose that, so I was just like, well, you win some, you lose some, so that's like why I'm glad I started this now, like with jiu-jitsu, because it's definitely made me like.
You know, it's funny is some people, they had wrestling in school.
Yeah.
But they didn't think it was cool to do until they found jiu-jitsu. And because they found jiu-jitsu, wrestling was cool and they wanted to do wrestling, but it was already like they passed it, right? Past high school.
And there's some of those high school wrestlers who are here now that are like animals. Like I don't know the name of the one of this kid who's a white belt, but he did high school wrestling and that dude like whoops my ass. And I'm like,
yeah, because you have a lot of mat time, right?
Yeah, like he already has like the base for it, and like even just like a little bit of experience, and it's helping him out. Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
I wanted to ask you, you know, like TKO or whatever, however that merger happened, but they got WWE
and UFC
UFC,
both my worlds,
both your worlds. So what'd you think about that?
I think it's ruined the WWE. I think they put in their hand too much in the cookie jar where they're now only looking at it from a money aspect. So for example, I'm sure you know this with WrestleMania is like their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Every year they're in a new state. But because this year when they were in Vegas, they made the most money because they were able to do all these like other events. Like, I don't know if you know who Tony Hinchcliffe is. He's a comedian. He had like this own like little wrestling thing there at the Fountain Blue Hotel.
Okay.
Where it was like, they just made so much money. So it's like, because of that, guess where they're going to be at this year? Vegas again.
I saw that.
And
because they were like doing all these events in different places, but they weren't making as much money or making money, right?
Which is crazy because New Orleans was announced to be WrestleMania for this coming year, and they just took it away from them to bring it back to Vegas. And the year after that is Saudi Arabia. And I'm like,
WrestleMania?
Yes.
What?
And I'm like, I try to go to every WrestleMania. So it's like Vegas, it's like, I'm going to complain because it's like, this is money hungry, but I'm still going to go. I don't think I'm gonna go to Saudi Arabia. That sounds a bit too much of a travel. I
have friends there. Let's go. I'll go with you.
Maybe it's just like,
I wanted to go, and I needed a reason to go.
But like the crazy.
When is the next UFC over there?
They usually do it summertime. In the
UFCs?
UFC Saudi Arabia. They usually do in the summertime as a fight night.
Okay, I want to go for. Hopefully, there's a jiu-jitsu thing out there too.
But yeah. I think like what makes it weird though is the fact that it's gonna be at WrestleMania is like, obviously like their religion there is like very different from like how it is in America.
Yeah, because all the
like,
entertainment, right?
Yeah. So with the women there, they like have to like wear these like baggy shirts to like as wrestlers, and it's like there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like I'm sure most of the women here don't want to like limit their wardrobe at the highest event possible because that's like how a lot of them attract fans. Is
that would
like,
be interesting.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be like an interesting event.
I watched what's it called? The McMahon
documentary. Yeah. Vince McMahon.
Right? Is it called Vince McMahon?
I think it's just his name. But
McMahon or Vince McMahon?
I think it's just Vince McMahon. But yeah, that whole
Did you watch the whole Netflix?
I watched most of it. I haven't gotten back to it. I've just been super busy. I haven't watched much TV.
Okay.
Like I'll occasionally just throw on Boondocks.
That took me back to my childhood with Hulk Hogan and just how everything happened and just his consistent focus and passion for it. Man, like it's inspiring. And yes, at the same time he did like a lot of other stuff, right? That wasn't so inspiring, but it's like
it's just like
he made this thing big.
I think people, because Triple H now, I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah,
he runs the like the booking and all that stuff now. I think people will try to hate on him now because he had a great a great run of like the storylines being amazing.
He was the what do you call it, creative director, right?
Yeah, and he still is, but I think people are blaming him too much now for the product not being that good. When now with TKO, they're trying to direct a lot of the things.
He's very handcuffed, right?
What he can do. He's definitely handcuffed. And like earlier this year, so a heel turn, I don't know if you know what it means. It's like when you're like the bad guy. John Cena, biggest superhero of all time, turned heel, and it was through the storyline with The Rock that The Rock was supposed to commit to, because The Rock is a part of the board of directors with TKO, and he's like known as the final boss, where he's like the big bad guy. And so the storyline was supposed to be like The Rock convinces John Cena to be like this corporate evil guy and to join him. And then after that, it's like The Rock didn't show up. So it's like The Rock committed to something, then left Triple H in this like predicament where it's like, well, now you're not here, and now I got to clean up your mess.
It's crazy. You're talking about storylines and stuff, and you're young, and when I was growing up, like everybody thought that was like real, the wrestling.
Funny story. I went to a WrestleMania when I was 10 years old, and my favorite wrestler of all time, his name is Roman Reigns. He's The Rock's cousin, and he was in the main event against Brock Lesnar, UFC legend too, and. There's this thing called a Money in the Bank where you have this briefcase, you can cash in to fight the championship anytime, anywhere. And this guy named Seth Rollins, who was Roman Reigns' former teammate, ran into the match, cashed in his briefcase mid-match in the main event of WrestleMania, and won the belt. And I was bawling. Like, I was crying so much because, like, my favorite wrestler of all time just lost his first ever title
10
match.
years old.
I was 10 years, like, I was like, I'm done watching wrestling. Like, I'm quitting this. And then my dad had to break the news to me, like, be like, buddy.
Like Santa Claus.
Yeah. He was like, buddy, it's fake. Like, it's okay. And I didn't believe him at first, but I was just like so like heartbroken.
That's so awesome. So awesome.
No, like it was just like that's the type of effect that like makes wrestling great though. Is like the emotions out of it.
Yeah, that's what makes like all these like UFC and even like grappling and stuff is these kind of storylines and
like I was
the characters, crazy guys, you know.
I was
crazy people involved.
I was in Philadelphia for
Moneybergs.
I was in Philadelphia for WrestleMania 2 years ago, and it was like considered like the biggest main event possible. Like Undertaker showed up for some reason and all this stuff. And me being an 18-year-old grown man was like on the brink of tears. Like it was like an amazing event. And I'm like, wow, like this is wrestling. Like it's the type of thing where it's like people, it's like universally like known that like it's fake, but it's like, it's still like my way of like explaining it is like to like people who are like, you know, it's fake, right? Like I remember I had to tell Professor Joey this, and I'm like, man, like when you watch your movies and shows, do you like go into it thinking it's like you're still gonna feel like emotion from it, like you're still gonna care about it? Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like watching it just live, and with the crowd there. So it's kind of like a Broadway show.
Yeah,
but it's like
I remember I had a grandmother, and she was this little like Hispanic, little, and she was a fanatic. She would watch her novellas, and she would be a fanatic with WWF. It was called back then, right? Yeah. WWE, WWF. And she was a fanatic with like wrestling, pro wrestling.
Yeah. And it's just like
she loved it, loved all of it.
That's the magic of it though. It's like it's something that like all ages can watch and enjoy. And it's crazy though, because like back in the 90s, that was something that like some people like weren't allowed to watch because they thought that the Undertaker was really a Satanist who was trying to like kill people. Because at that time, like they would keep the storylines locked. Like when you're outside in the public, you're still the Undertaker. Like people, now it's like Undertaker's just gonna walk around like he's a normal guy because like it's.
So how is the UFC and just that whole what part is good? What was the idea you think that they were thinking that merging them or putting them together was gonna make it better?
So at the time, they were always each other's biggest competitors. I feel like So like especially with like fighters like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was like, I remember in 2014, it was 2014 and 2015, Daniel Cormier won, challenged Brock Lesnar to a fight, and they like got into an altercation, and everyone thought, oh yeah, Daniel Cormier versus Brock Lesnar is about to happen. But then guess who's paid Brock Lesnar a hefty bag and to come back to their company to prevent that fight? WWE.
Yeah. So
it's like they were always each other's biggest competitors in a way where it's like now even though one isn't real combat sports, it's just in a way like this is something that they can do to connect to bring more money together. And now a lot of the times there's these weekends where both events are going to be in the same town to make more money. It's like, oh, you're going to go to this UFC event. Well, while you're at it,
UFC,
might as well go to the WWE event.
WWE, yeah.
And then they'll also like promote it with like WWE wrestlers being at UFC events or UFC stars being at WWE events. And I remember specifically there was an episode of Monday Night Raw where Michael Chandler showed up, grabbed the microphone, and then started yelling out Conor McGregor's name to try to promote their fight again. And then the fight just never happened. So yeah, I think the whole thing was just for more money. And it was like, we were talking about it before, Dana White like won somewhat of a monopoly where he has his hands in everything. So even though he doesn't own the WWE, he's now like linked to it to where it's not really a competitor to them. And with the whole boxing thing, like I'm sure he's trying to work out a deal with them too. So it's definitely like interesting on how that's gonna work.
Yeah, the power is in the merger and acquisitions, right? Of, joining forces, and that way you control the board, right? And take out your competitors, right?
I just also remember because I remember like a month after the TKO thing happened was when all the Vince McMahon stuff started going crazy. Like when all like the lawsuits showed up, and it was just like, wow, like this is like they were all, because Vince McMahon was still part of TKO at that point. And there was like an outrage between everyone, and then they all just had to pretty much vote him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's cool to see this whole the UFC, like, you know, they just signed that big deal with Paramount and that whole thing.
Which is another interesting thing because a lot of fighters would get paid from the pay-per-view buys. So it's like, how is it going to work now with streaming networks? That's like something that like I thought about as soon as the deal happened. It's like, how are some of these fighters going to get paid? Because that's like a part of their income.
And do you remember back in the day they would have their own sponsors? Like, for example, when I fought, I could put all my sponsors on my banner and then on my shorts.
Brock Lesnar had like Jimmy John's all over him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And so now it's like then Reebok came in, and then it was only like Reebok and UFC and maybe your flag, right?
I feel like they got to bring that back. Like,
well, it wasn't good for the fighters, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So now with this whole thing, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. I'm excited for it though because I illegally stream all my fights, so it's like I have Paramount at home, so now it's like it's very easily accessible.
Dana White, we'll take that
out. But I think even Dana White knew that. Like, there were some fighters who openly admitted to illegally streaming fights.
I mean, it's so easy, right? Like
it's
when I'm like somewhere and I don't have access to the thing, like, I just go on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and this stuff pops up.
And it's like
TikTok, you know?
Yeah, and it's like now, like that's
we were in the airport, or was it in Japan, and we wanted to see was it the Marab fight that was going on?
Yeah.
And we're dying to see that fight. And sure enough, I was like, hey, Sona, hey, Serenade, like, help me. Like, we searched, boom, TikTok, we got it.
I just, like...
We're watching it live in the airport.
Why would I spend $90 on a pay-per-view when I could just watch it for free on someone else's stream?
Yeah, and I think that's something, right, that they realize. And if there's a way to do, like, win-win with everything,
yeah.
Right? Because some of the things are getting more and more expensive. It's hard to kind of even follow the sport. I didn't like the ESPN thing. Yeah. As a fan, because man, all of a sudden, for me to watch it is like so hard. I don't know. I try to buy it sometimes, and it still doesn't work.
I remember when I first started getting into sport, and I wanted to, like, the first fight I legit wanted to like try to buy, because before that I would just like watch TikTok streams, like you said, and me and my friend were wanting to watch a fight. So I'm like, okay, let me see how much it is. It was Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. And I was like, okay, well, my dad has ESPN, so ESPN Plus, so like, let me go see how much it is. Next thing you know, apparently he needed to buy an extra subscription.
Right, exactly.
And then had to pay the extra $80.
Make it easy.
Yeah. Like, so then at that point, we just went to a restaurant and just watched it.
Yeah. It's like a bummer, right? As a fan, because you want to support, you want to, whatever.
Yeah, it's just like...
Help. And enjoy the sport.
I just think it's time that they finally drop the pay-per-views, because they're the only ones doing it. Like, they're the only big sport that is still doing pay-per-views, and it's like it's a dying thing. Like, WWE hasn't done pay-per-views in over 10 years. Oh, really? Yeah, they had their own network called the WWE Network.
That's right.
In 2013. It was only $10 a month just to watch everything.
WrestleMania, everything.
Yeah, and then they moved over to the Peacock. And now they're on Netflix. And now they're on well Netflix. Their Monday Night Raw is on Netflix, but now it's on ESPN. Which for me, I'm just gonna use a VPN and just watch it on Netflix. Because in Canada on Netflix, you get everything WWE related. So it's like I'm just gonna use that. But it's just like interesting that like I don't know why it took this long for the UFC to like drop it. I feel like, well, obviously they had their deal with ESPN. I don't think there was much they could have done about it, but it's like
they're locked in for some years.
Yeah, they were locked in, but it's like I'm sure Dana White in the back of his mind was like, "Damn, dude, like we're out here losing money because these people aren't spending the money for pay-per-views."
Yeah, bro. Great talking to you, man.
Yeah,
I'm like, I didn't realize how much of like so much about UFC and MMA.
Yeah.
And of course, I knew about the WWE, but you're so well spoken.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And I think the UFC or WWE or TKO needs to hire you for your own show.
I would love that. That would be amazing. that would be awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been great to have you on the mat, and look forward to your tournaments and your continual growth. And let's go all the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you see yourself getting your black belt?
That's the goal. I definitely want to keep going at this. Like, I don't care how old I am when it happens. I remember like my first worry joining into the sport was like, am I too old for this? And then I'm seeing like people in their 30s joining, and I'm like, no, it's
old.
Like no, like obviously not, but like, but like I'm saying, like people like it does, like this is a sport where it's never too late.
It's true.
So it's like,
have you seen that Savage video we did?
No, I haven't.
It's on YouTube. It's never too late to be a savage. You know the older gentleman. He walks around.
Yeah. So it's like,
it's on him.
So it's like, I just want to.
He started when he was 67.
Like that's amazing, and it's like for me, it's like I definitely want to try to get a black belt. Like obviously, it's gonna take time, but I'm willing to put in the work. And I think that's all that matters.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's awesome, man. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.